Hey everybody, today I am doing the controversial parenting tag. I have done this before, but it has been about 3.5 years, and this was actually requested by a viewer that commented and said, I've noticed that you have changed and it seems like maybe you have some different convictions, and I'd be interested to see what your answers are now. This has been on my list to do for a long while, an updated version, because probably over half of the answers that I answered last time in the controversial parenting tag have changed as I've grown and my convictions have changed and I've just changed as a person. So I wanted to go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is go through the questions and I will briefly let you know what it was before, and then I'll let you know what it is now, and I'm going to link my original controversial parenting tag below. And oh my goodness, I went back and watched it and I just had to laugh at some of the things that I thought I was so right about, and now it's changed. And that's what you have to remember with this is everyone's different, everyone has a different experience in their life, and based on that, you're gonna look at things differently. And I did change my mind. Some people never do, but I did change my mind on a lot of things, and I think that's eye-opening to realize, wow, maybe we don't always know everything. Maybe things can change. The first question was, are you pro-life or pro-choice? And in my original one, I put that I was pro-choice in pretty much every circumstance, but especially in medical circumstances. And before, I did say, I would never do it for myself. And I still stand that I probably wouldn't want to pass a law banning abortions, because I think it's a heart issue. It's not a law issue. You can change the law, but you're not going to change people's hearts, and people will have abortions still. And I still do believe that it should be okay for medical circumstance. If the baby is going to die anyway, and they are the mother's suffering through this pregnancy just to see their baby die, and there's 100% without a doubt this is going to happen, I don't think that we should be banning that. Or if the mother is 100% without a doubt going to die. So I still stand on medical circumstances, which actually thinking that that might be okay. But otherwise, I don't really like taking the life of the innocent. I do believe it's wrong. I do believe it's murder, and I don't like that at all, and I would never ever advocate for it. However, in the eyes of the law, and I've always kind of said, before in my original one, it's always just been kind of you know what, I have my convictions and I hold them strongly. But I also understand that you cannot hold everyone else who hasn't experienced everything you have, who doesn't serve the same God you do, that doesn't, get it. They don't get it. You can't hold them to your personal convictions. Convictions are convictions, and that means it's a personal belief, and it doesn't mean that you necessarily can force that on someone else. Now, should I share my heart and why I think it's wrong? Sure, I absolutely will. I don't believe it's right. I definitely wouldn't go tell someone to have one. But do I think that the law above us should put laws against it? No, because you can't change somebody's heart with a law. Let's get back to trying to change their heart. If we can change their heart, that is awesome. But if you just change the law, you're not actually going to change much else. Next question was baby wearing. In my original tag, I said I was for it, but I didn't really do it. And now, not much has changed. I've done it a lot more since then. I did baby wear a lot with my boys, and at that point, I didn't have either of my boys. I did baby wear them a good amount when they were littler, not all the time, not 24/7, and I didn't wear them much as toddlers because they were huge, but I definitely am still for baby wearing. I don't really know why you wouldn't be. Circumcision was the next topic, and back then I was highly against it, didn't see any reason at all except for maybe religious reasons if you are Jewish and you believe that it's wrong, and I am still pretty much the same way. Medically, there is absolutely no reason I see to circumcise, and I don't think it's good to take away that choice from the babies. However, I do respect religious reasons, and I even understand it, but we will leave our boys intact. Adoption, In my original video, I said that I was for it, and that has remained the same. I am for giving children up for adoption if you don't think that you can give them adequate life, and I am for adopting children, of course. The next question was baby piercing. How do you feel about that? And in my previous one, I said that I did do it with my daughter, but I wouldn't do it again if I had another daughter, and I still stand on that. I don't think it's horrible. My daughter actually has come to me and said that she likes her ears being pierced and is glad I did it, and she's 4.5 now, almost 5. But if I had another daughter, I would wait until they were old enough to make that decision and say, Mom, can we please go get my ears pierced? I don't really like making that kind of body altering choice anymore. Doesn't mean I think you're horrible if you do. Obviously I did it myself, but I would not do it again. So that stayed the same. The next question is breast milk versus formula. At that time I had my one daughter who I breastfed shortly and then switched to formula, and that I was pregnant with Josiah. Now I am still for it. I was for it back then, but I understood why formula was used. Still the same. I'm still for it. I think there's a lot of things that come up that aren't as big of an issue as moms think they are, and with a lot of help and education, they could probably make it through some of those things that a lot of moms switch for. I know that my personal circumstance, I probably could have continued breastfeeding my daughter, but I was kind of bullied into it by the system, by the doctors, by that whole ordeal. But the same thing, I'm still definitely for breast milk for everyone who can do it. I definitely think that's the best way to go. And I did end up nursing both of my boys. I nursed Josiah for 14 months when he self-weaned, and I nursed Nehemiah for 18 months when I weaned him. Next question was about spanking, if you were okay with spanking. And in my previous video, I said that I was kind of mixed on it. I believe there was better ways and it should only be used as a last resort, and I really didn't plan to do it. Now I pretty much believe the same way. I really don't like spanking. I do think there's a lot better, more effective ways. However, we have done it a couple of times, not often. It is a last resort, and we also don't do it for little bitty kids. Like we won't spank our 1-year-old. It's still basically the same, except for like I do get why, when you've tried so many things, why you might spank. Like, I still don't love spanking. I still think that you should definitely explore your options in all the other ways first and get some education there as well. The next question was co-sleeping. Back when I did this originally, I was firmly against it with my knowledge and education in early childhood, and I had spoke about there being high risk of SIDS and all of this, and that has changed 125%. It's actually hilarious because in that video I was pregnant with my son Josiah, and I co-slept with him. I didn't intentionally plan on it. It originally started out as me accidentally falling asleep with him a couple of times, and then it was like with breastfeeding, it was so much easier. It was so much easier to just sleep with him, let him nurse to sleep, do whatever. And I realize now that a lot of that stuff that I was taught was propaganda. Like, there is so much money put into what they teach us in college, and I loved that I went to college and got an education, and I learned a lot of good things there. But now that I've like learned even more, and I've become a mom, and I've seen both sides of a lot of different arguments, I see that a lot of what we were taught really is propaganda. And you co-sleep with your baby, it regulates their heartbeat, it regulates their body temperature, it actually keeps them safer. And when you're a breastfeeding mom, you are in sync with their body. It is crazy how, for me and so many other moms, you wake up a little bit before your baby does, a little bit before they start to stir, and then they'll start to. It is insane. Like, we are in sync with our babies, and most of the time it is safe. Obviously, there are precautions you should take. Don't put your baby on the side of the bed with a big drop, you know. Don't cover them up with big bulky blankets. But I am for co-sleeping now to a point, as long as you want to. We don't do it for a long time, but we do it definitely those first few months for sure. The next question was if you were going to homeschool, public school, private, or charter school. And at the time, I did not know what a charter school was. I know what that is now. And it is basically a school that they set up in your town, different from the public school, that you can like apply to go to, that has more individualized lessons, different ways of learning, stuff like that. My last video, I had said that we would more than likely do public schooling. I didn't see the need to homeschool, and like that was life, and whatever we didn't like about public school, like we would get over because it's life and we deal with it, and we don't always like everything. Oh my goodness, how funny is that? Because now, obviously, if you watch me, you know that I homeschool Evelyn. We love homeschooling. We plan to homeschool all of our kids, and really public school would be a last resort at this point, which is funny because before it was like homeschooling would be a last resort. Now public school would be a last resort. We like homeschooling. Our second best option would be private school. Public school would be the last resort for us. Next question was about vaccinations, if you were for or against that. And in my previous one, I was definitely for it, and I even implied that good luck to you that don't, because that's a really dumb decision. And like I said before, in college you are pumped with a lot of propaganda, and I definitely was brainwashed by the system. And now, I also said back then that I did not ever see it changing. And how funny, because it changed, and now I am still kind of on the fence, but I really don't like vaccinations at all. There's a little twinge of fear about some of the things, not a lot of them, because most of them it's like really, why does my newborn need a hepatitis B shot when that's a sexually transmitted disease, or only through dirty needles or sex, and they're a newborn baby? Like, that's not going to be happening. It has changed. We no longer vaccinate on schedule. We actually haven't vaccinated Nimi hardly at all. We were bullied into it a little bit at first, and we have not since then. And we don't know if or when we will. We are still doing a lot of research, but pretty much everything that we have been learning has pointed to no. And I'm realizing that there is so much fraud and so much things going on, and it's definitely not good. And on the fence with vaccinations, but leaning more on the against side. The next question was about medicating children. I said I was fine with over-the-counter, like if your baby's sick, do something. And I thought that like for ADD and ADHD, it was over-diagnosed, and to use it as a last resort. Like, I don't think it should be the first thing you do as soon as you get a diagnosis is medicate your child. And basically I still stand on the same page with that. The next one was about cloth or disposable diapers, and at the time I was doing cloth diapers, and I still am. I like cloth diapers a lot, so not that I think you're bad if you do disposable, but we like cloth and we did stick with it. Last question was about the cry it out method, and before I had put that I was against it for newborns, but I was okay with it in small doses as they got older, and that has basically remained the same. So, as you see, my opinions and ideas have changed a lot over the years. A lot of things have changed. My eyes have been open to both sides. I see things in a different way. I have more moral and spiritual convictions probably than I did before, even though my beliefs technically haven't changed that much. I'm just living it out a little more now, and I'm just seeing a lot more than I ever have. And I do not judge a mom on any side of these things, because I know these are tough decisions, and there's so much out there, and it's so hard to decide what's right. It really is. But just pray about it and be open-minded, and know that, you know what, you're the mom and you know what's best for your kid, and at the end of the day, we are given grace. Thank the Lord, we're given grace. So if we do make a choice that maybe wasn't the best, you know what, we're gonna be okay. If we have our hearts are in the right spot, we're gonna be okay. So my controversial parenting tag 3.5 years later. Wow, things have changed. I hope you guys liked this video. Please comment below and tell me your opinions on it. Try to keep it nice, please, and friendly. And let me know if you enjoy more videos like this, if you have any more questions for me. I am always open to more questions, Q&As, stuff like that. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more videos from me. I am trying to do every 2 to 3 days a new video. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.